Hello, everyone, and welcome to Thursday Live Lesson. My name is Aldrine Guerrero, joined by Mr. Aaron the Voice Nakamura. So what's up, Aaron?
What's up?
Mr. Kahai the Legend Fergan.
What's up?
And we have a very special guest today, Mr. Narciso Lobo. Say what's up, Seeso.
Yo! What up?
Oh, nice.
So glad to be here, you guys. Thanks for having me.
So Narciso Lobo, or Seeso, as we're going to be calling him from here on out, is an OG Ukulele Underground member, and he's actually you're still the moderator for the Ukulele Underground forums. So for all of you folks who are still using the Ukulele Underground forums, he is the super duper moderator over at Ukulele Underground forums.
That is true. It is me and one other person right now. Dan is the only other person.
Man, you keep a tight ship there.
All I do is delete spam.
But you've been doing that for how long now?
Since it started. What was
crazy.
it? 08?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the winter of 07.
Yeah, 07.
Yeah. Winter of 07, which is, what was that, October, November of 07? And then that was a soft launch. Then we launched for reals in 08, January. It was crazy.
Yeah, like the main site.
Yeah, I remember when you guys started it, and we had some live video going somehow. I don't know what we were using at the time.
Yeah, we've been trying to figure that out too. I mean, Ustream way back then, but I don't know if it was Ustream.
Yeah, it might have been.
There might have been something
yeah.
else.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy, man. It's 12 years ago. That is insane.
Insane.
Yes, I actually have it up right now.
Oh, really?
There's like an archive of your introduction post, and it's dated 12/21/2007.
Wow.
So yeah, it's like you
2 days before my
introduce.
2 days before my 17th birthday.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
You're now a youthful 24. You have drunk from the fountain of youth, my friend.
Seriously.
It's all the virgin blood that I drink.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
yeah.
That's what I thought. I don't get the
Pro
fresh
tip.
supply.
I'm actually going to be the big 5-0 this year.
Really?
Dude, that is
Yeah.
amazing.
The
I
big
hope people are
5-0.
watching the video version of this. Please, if you didn't download the video version, it's free.
It's free.
So download the video version of this.
Well, we're Asians, right? So we don't
Yeah.
age.
We have that. All the secret Asian creams that people don't know about, you know?
Yeah.
You gotta
until
speak
the
quiet.
very
Quiet.
Well, you gotta ask for it in Asian. So unless you know how to speak Asian, you can't get the Asian lady behind the counter to give it to you. Secret Asian language. So you know what I mean? Even if you know about it, you gotta ask for it in Asian.
What is that Lord of the Rings quote? Like, speak friend and enter or something? It's like the equivalent.
Speak
Yeah.
friend and enter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that I still, have some of my youthful good looks, and I owe a lot of it to
Some.
just some.
Kidding me?
I owe a lot of it to playing the ukulele. I'll tell you.
Right on,
Yeah.
man. So let's take a walk back, in memory lane.
How do you like that for a segue?
Oh yeah, I love it. That's how we get to talk about ukulele now. So you've been playing ukulele for how long?
I picked it up in 2007, the same year that you
right on.
guys started. Yes,
really?
Yeah.
That's insane. And since then, you've done countless YouTube videos. I just saw one that you did Islands in the Stream. You just did one.
I sure did. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
But you also. Go ahead.
I did that one with a fantastic artist in Indiana. She is based in Indianapolis. She is the son of a local famous musician, John Martin. Her name is Megan Christine Martin, and I met her at the Ukulele World Congress, and she has been going gangbusters for about 4 years now, just tearing it up in Indianapolis with her original songs, fantastic voice, effortless powerhouse vocals. I hate her. But yeah, she was nice enough to help me out with Islands in the Stream. And, since we're all on lockdown, I do have some time on my hands. So I'm getting back to making some videos. That was the last one I did, and that was just a couple of days ago. But yeah, the first one that I did was in 2007, and it was, I believe it was I Shot the Sheriff. In 2007. Nice. I picked up a ukulele in a great institution here in Chicago, been around forever, since the 60s, I believe, if not earlier, called the Old Town School of Folk Music. And they have a store attached to it called Little Strummer. I have a friend who works there, and I went down to visit and picked one up off the wall. And as soon as I held it in my hands, it just felt right, man. I fell in love with it and bought it on the spot.
Right. Did you have previous music experience? Like, did you play other instruments, or did you do other stuff before?
I sure did, Kahai. I started as all Asians do. Well, since we're Asian, you get a choice. It's either piano or violin. Yeah. So I chose piano.
If your parents are really mean, then they do you gotta do cello, so you gotta lug around the instrument, right?
If you have more progressive parents, it's either that or breakdancing.
Now it is, yeah.
Which I'm sure you did too. Yeah, I was just gonna say.
I sure did. So yeah, I started on piano at 10 years old, and I only took lessons for about a year, but I did keep up with it. And I started joining bands in high school. Mm-hmm. And in high school, I started to learn guitar. My father was a guitar player. He passed in 2007. But if he were alive to this day, he would still say he taught me how to play guitar. He did not. The most he would do would say, "Johnny boy," he called me Johnny. "Johnny boy, that's wrong." And then take the guitar out of my hands and then play it correctly.
It's like a lesson. Yeah, great lesson.
And then I'd watch him.
Sounds like Aldrine's dad.
Yeah. My whole family.
I was going to say, there's a lot of parallels going on right now.
Yeah.
So he had a guitar. He had a classical guitar, and that's what I learned on. The first song that I learned how to play was "Times They Are A-Changin'" by Bob Dylan. My dad and I were big Bob Dylan fans, as well as Jim Croce, James Taylor, John Denver, Harry Chapin, all the good folksy singers, songwriters of that era. We were big fans of, and so those were the songs that I started to learn, and those are the songs that I continue to play, and those are the songs that in which style that I continue to write. So that has also stayed with me, since I started to learn to play music, and picked up the ukulele from all of that. And I freaked out because, wow, it's a guitar with the capo on the 5th fret. Yeah.
So speaking of original music, and you write music and stuff, and you put out an album with original music, right? Or a couple of them.
I did, yeah. I put out a full length and an EP. The full length is called Kuya, and the EP is called Little Brother. And you could stream Kuya anywhere you like to stream music. It'll be in your Spotify, your Amazon, your iTunes. And Kuya is Little Brother is only available at Bandcamp.
Yeah.
So you go to bandcamp.com/Seeso and the number 1, and you can find me there. It's SEESO.
Yeah, we'll definitely add all the links. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, we did mention that you are an OG as far as Ukulele Underground goes, and we talked about how you were there in the beginning and how you're a super duper moderator. But another thing that kind of came from Ukulele Underground is a thing called the UWC, the
The Ukulele World Congress.
Yeah. So tell us about, because you were there. You're an OG to UWC as well. You were there in the first one, and you mentioned you have the shirt still. So tell us about UWC.
I do have the shirt still. So the first one was in 2009, and it was started by a guy named Mike Hater, and that is spelled exactly how it sounds, Hater. And it's so funny because he's the exact opposite of a hater.
Yeah.
He is such a loving, generous, kind-hearted, warm human being that
Big teddy bear.
He is a big teddy bear. Exactly. It's a great way to put it. And he is the owner of Mainland Ukuleles. So if you've heard of Mainland, he's the guy behind Mainland. But I met him in 2008, also in Nashville, Indiana, when he was working for another company, another ukulele company. He split off to form his own. And that was during a time when everybody, the OGs anyway, on YouTube, the ukulele OGs on YouTube, were collaborating a lot together. Yeah. Especially with the Uke Crazy Bitches. The Uke Crazy Bitches would come out.
Yeah.
The UCB. They would come out with videos, maybe one a week back in the day. And so we got to be really friendly with each other. I was kind of a satellite of the UCB. I wasn't cool enough to be a UCBer, but I did get to make a couple of videos here and there. But so we all got to know each other fairly well online by making these collaboration videos. And Mike Hater was a part of that group, and he really wanted to start an annual get-together with all of these people who have never met in person. He wanted to have a place where we could all gather and meet and jam in person. And that's how Ukulele World Congress was born. And he actually lives on the, not exactly on the site, but right in the area of the site where Ukulele World Congress happens. You could walk there in, 3-4 minutes to his house. And it is an old hippie commune. So it's an old hippie commune from the late 60s, early 70s, but that area has retained that character. So there is a stage there for festivals, and that's the stage that we use for Ukulele World Congress. And it started in 2009 with maybe 20 to 30 people, maybe at the max 50. Mike Hater likes to pump up his numbers a little bit, but he says 50. I say 20, 30 people. Deech was there. Russ Bus was there. Alan Brandt was there. Lisa Hatfield was there. Susie Cuke was there. So many OGs were there. And I remember being so freaked out by seeing people's legs for the first time. Like, holy, this is surreal. You have legs. You have legs. And we've done it every year since, and I haven't missed a year. This year, we won't be having one in person. It'll be a virtual Ukulele World Congress, obviously due to the ongoing pandemic. But we will be having a Ukulele World Congress. We will hopefully have either Aaron or Aldrine or both of you guys out to host a couple of hours of the open mic. That would be amazing. But yeah, the show goes on. It's going to be amazing. At the Ukulele World Congress, we have different sort of camps that have established themselves over the year. So we have Mr. Terry Vita, who has a porch, what he calls his porch, and he lays out, plywood, a couple of 4x8 sheets of plywood next to each other, and sets up his porch. So it's like you're visiting his home porch when you go to his camp. We have the we have the what do you call the Deege's camp? Oh, Deej was there at the first one too. But Deej, otherwise known as Chris DiGirolamo, has a compound. The thing is huge, and he'll be. I don't know if he'll be hosting a virtual campsite this year, but that is one of the actual in-person campsites that you can visit while you're there.
That's crazy.
That is correct.
But
there, you know, for the city dwellers and for the people who don't like camping, like me at first, I actually, the only time I camp is when I go to these events. But there are cabins in the area and hotels in the area that you can rent, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So some years we do that, some years I camp, but most of the time I camp. So yeah, you camp on the field, and it's amazing. And it doesn't cost a cent. Everything is free. So it's not like a festival in the classic sense where there is a curated concert. There are vendors. There are ukulele workshops, right? It's none of that. So if you want to play...
It's an anti-festival.
It's an anti-festival.
Yeah.
If you want to play, you sign up. If you want to learn something, you ask somebody who knows how to play it, how to teach it to you. You know, there is no selling. There's no selling at all. No vending.
Yeah,
that is insane.
So it not only has the field retained that hippie character, but Mike Hayter imparted his character to the Ukulele World Congress. It is not unlike how a team takes on the character of its coach, right? Mm-hmm. So we're, as the Ukulele World Congress festival goers, as we are the team to Mike Hayter's coach, we have taken on that vibe of openness and generosity and loving, and it is a beautiful thing, and it is my favorite event by far all year.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned there's like 30, 50 people in the beginning. Since 2009, you guys do it every year. So how many people come out now?
I would say that the Ukulele World Congress number 10 was at its peak 1,000 people.
It's a big field.
That just showed up. People that just showed up and participated in this thing that just happens in a field in Indiana.
There's like advertising, but it's not more than just like people talking about it on Facebook and stuff, right?
No, it's just Facebook. Yeah, it's just Facebook. So we were actually kind of. And this is, I'm talking about it on this podcast, so I don't know how secret it's going to be anymore, but we try to keep it on the DL. So it's a private group on Facebook. But yeah, I mean, if you want to come, absolutely ask to join the Facebook group. Find me and ask to join the Facebook group. There's no promotion in the Facebook group. It's all posting about the group, so we try to keep that on lockdown. But it is open to anyone. It is open to anyone. So get at me if you want to come.
Explain the vibe out there, because like it's been going on for so long, but I mean everyone kind of gets along. Everyone loves each other. Everyone's friends and stuff. Like, explain the vibe.
Yeah, everybody is friends. Like I said, if we all took on the character of Mike Hayter, and Mike Hayter, the first thing that he'll do when he sees you is gives you a big old bear hug, right? And it makes you feel like $1,000,000 friggin' dollars. So if you can imagine a Mike Hayter that could fit his arms around 1,000 people at once, that is the vibe of the Ukulele World Congress.
So there's the UWC, and then recently, me and Aaron got an awesome chance to be at the Brown County Ukulele Festival, which people tell me is like UWC light, basically.
It is, yeah, it is.
Tell us about the Brown County U Fest.
I'd be glad to. So the Brown County Ukulele Fest was started a few years ago. I want to say 4 years ago we had the dry run, and then we just had our third. If I could be off by one on those estimates, but there is he wanted to get together in the winter, so he puts on this festival, and it's a traditional festival in every sense of the word. So there's a curated concert, there is vending, and there is workshops. there are workshops. And he's been doing that for maybe 4 years, but that is also, the same kind of vibe. It is at a hotel, so everybody stays in the same building, not the same field, but the same building. So
they
we're
told us
jamming.
that, they actually closed down that whole like hotel only for people coming to the festival.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what they're telling us. Like
Pretty much.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I think just because that's kind of a dead time,
Yes.
for booking anyway. And
Yeah.
I think it just sold out just with people that attended the festival. All of the hotel rooms were booked by people attending the festival anyway. So
Oh yeah. It's booked about a week after the event ends. Next year's event is all booked about a week.
I loved it. I mean, that was our
ends.
first time, and like the vibe was so cool, and that's where we're like, man, okay, if this is the vibe, we gotta make it to a UWC because we
You
haven't.
gotta. You gotta.
yeah.
You book some shows around that day in the Midwest, and then just pop that right in the middle.
It's just so expensive coming from Hawaii, man. Like, so
I hear you,
if we
brother. I
can,
hear
if we can't do something like do a whole tour like around it and stuff, we'll definitely come. I mean,
That would be amazing.
We have to now. Like after experiencing that at Brown County, like the love and the people and the it was magical. Like really, it was magical. Like I've been to a bunch of festivals all around the world, and I've said this before on the podcast. Like, there's nothing quite like the Brown County Uke Fest because the love is like the original like Ukulele Underground from back in 2007 or 2000.
It is, yeah.
It's really that vibe.
Yeah,
Like people wanting to like share stuff, want to talk, want to like just jam and want to share. It was magical, man.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are responsible for it too, and I don't think that I can say it enough that you guys were responsible for so much positivity in so many people's lives. The mind reels, the mind staggers. Not only people not affiliated with Ukulele World Congress and Ukulele Underground, but people that are tangentially related. I mean, it's amazing. Mike, the first announcement that he made about Ukulele World Congress was on the Ukulele Underground forums. That's when he started to talk about wanting to do it. And that's where he made the announcement that it was happening. So if not for Ukulele Underground, this amazing event would not be happening every year, where people, just love each other and jam until you don't sleep. Be prepared not to sleep.
I don't think I slept that much at Brown County either. Like, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. But thanks for the kind words. Like it's one of those like if you build it, they will come. We basically created a place where people can just come and congregate and talk online and stuff. And we wanted to give that kind of vibe that we have here in Hawaii, where like if you just ask someone, like they'll give you whatever information that you need. If you want to learn how to do something on the ukulele, you go up to a person playing, you're like, how'd you do that? And it's not like they're gonna be like, no, I don't want to. Like, that's never been a thing. So
where's my money?
Exactly. Pay off first, and then I'll give you. And we built that. We built that site, and it's kind of cool. So if you build it, they will come. So a lot of credit is from the like-minded people that came and congregated and talked and became friends and I don't know, it's turned into something completely different now, but those lasting relationships, like we could still see that at Brown County Uke Fest, which is awesome.
Long lasting is right. I mean, this is the 12th year, man. It's crazy. It is crazy.
And you mentioned during the Brown County Uke Fest, like some people were like, there were like kids born, like because of like meeting at like either at Ukulele Underground or at UWC or at Brown County Uke Fest. That's amazing. Like
that is correct. Yeah, Duncan and Misha. So Duncan and Misha met at the Ukulele World Congress and married and have a child. So you were responsible for it. More than one child that we know of.
Yeah, and like I mean, we have so much, we have so much to talk about, so much stories with you. Like not just like Ukulele Underground stuff, but when we we wanted to do a tour over in the Midwest, and definitely we want to hit up, we wanted to hit you up. We wanted to hit up Chicago because that's like, I mean, if we're musicians, we gotta stop at Chicago, you know.
You gotta.
So you introduced us to, what was that place called? Tiki something.
The Tiki Terrace.
Tiki Terrace. Yeah, that was a great venue, and we found out a lot of Hawaiian musicians actually stop by there. Is that place still going on today?
It sure is. It's still going on today. Still going strong. Still has the same vibe, the same island vibe. They really want to have you guys back.
Like we'd love to.
Yeah.
They
really want to have you guys
tour.
back.
UWC tour, got to hit up Tiki Terrace again. But I mean, Chicago was like just so magical. I mean, it's music town, you know. Like we loved being there, and just being country bumpkins from Kauai. We were like super just culture shocked by like the amount of amazing musicians that were in Chicago. And we talk about this all the time, and we finally get to talk with you about this, that like it was the middle of later on in the afternoon, like 3-4 o'clock, we go to a place which we now find out that it's Buddy Guys
Legends.
It's we go there at like in the afternoon, and
it was like a weekday too.
Yeah, right? It was a weekday. And there's this amazing band playing, and that was a culture shock to us. It's like, who is this amazing band playing for like 2 tables? You know, like that. There was like this lead singer who's his bass player, and he's like playing his bass, and he's getting super sweaty. He's like wiping his sweat with his one hand, still playing the bass with the other, singing, and it was just like, where are we? This is like some weird parallel world where everyone is talented, you know? Like it was insane.
I was hoping Buddy Guy would show up. He shows up from time to time and joins in with the band, but we were not as lucky that day. So when you come back, we'll have to go at night on the weekend. Maybe he'll show up.
Please. And you know, it's just that was a shock to me, because you know, on any given day on Kauai, you could be like, okay, this band's all right, or like, oh, this band's really good and stuff. But like at the middle of the afternoon, like, that's insane. You know, like the level of musicianships, and that's like they were playing as good as like the best, like better than the best band we have here on a tiny little island. You know, and like yeah. So it's scary to think like who's the headliners of that. You know,
that's that was insane. Just kind of the house band that was there.
And it was always cool, like just kind of seeing Chicago, and you took us around, and I was I remember being taking the subway like with you, and just and I remember that being so inspiring that we actually started playing Purple Rain, because you just took the uke out of nowhere and just started like playing Purple Rain out of nowhere. And I'm like,
sounds like me.
I love that song. And it was like an empty subway, like it was just us like waiting for the train to come. And I'm like, that is insane. I started singing along and stuff. I'm like, I gotta put this in my set. Like, this is one of those magical kind of songs that bring people together. It's because of you, man. We have
nice.
But man, that was well, what do you remember about that trip?
Well, I misspoke earlier when I was mentioning the OGs of the Ukulele World Congress, and I said Susie Cuke. It's not Susie Cuke, although she is a ukulele player. I had a brain fart, and I should have said Suki.
Suki.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Suki. She was at the first one, and she was responsible for you guys coming to the Midwest. Is she not?
Yeah. We stayed over at her place in Minnesota.
In Minnesota. Okay, so she contacted me, and she asked me to find you guys a gig in Chicago, and that's how we set you up at the Tiki Terrace. So, Suki, all my apologies. Please, please don't hate me.
How dare you confuse me with Susie Cuke?
I'm live with the you guys. I'm so nervous.
That was awesome.
But yeah, I remember, like, you know, I did meet you guys prior to that. I met you at NAMM, but I hadn't seen you guys since then, and I was so excited to show you guys my city. So that was really a thrill, and I remember walking around with you in your gloves because
cold. It was so cold, Dad.
It was cold, and it also helped you so you didn't have to explain your fingernails.
That's true.
I remember walking into one of our fancy Aldrines, and your guys were like, "This is a freaking Walgreens.
Fancy.
We're country bumpkins, man. We're from the tiny little island.
It had 2 levels to it, and really fancy
2 levels for a Walgreens. It's not even necessary, you know.
We walked around by Navy Pier. I remember we walked by Navy Pier. We played some ukulele down by Navy Pier.
Yeah, we busked.
We busked. We talked about other stuff too. We talked about Adventure Time and It was a fantastic experience. We stayed at a hotel afterwards, and of course we played until the wee hours. But yeah, I was so excited to show you off to the Chicago ukulele crowd here, and they absolutely really want you guys back.
And even
so we got to make
after Tiki Terrace, like we were hanging out at Tiki Terrace with like a bunch of ukers and stuff like from Chicago, and we were there until I don't know, like they were closing up. I think we we watched them close up. It was really, really, really fun. You showed us the wonders of Chicago deep dish. That was I gotta have it again, man. I'm jonesing.
You were flattened by that.
Oh man,
ridiculous.
One slice is enough, ain't it?
Yeah. Yes.
It's very filling.
That's insane. That's the pie. That's the pie. It's a pie.
It's like I didn't expect a pan of lasagna. I thought we were eating pizza. It's like no, you get your own pan.
So good. So what are you up to now, man? So that's all the stuff from the past. What are you up to now?
So right now, like I said, I just started making videos again, and I actually I had cancer, so that was a big life event. I was diagnosed with cancer in 2016, and I was treated for it all throughout 2017. I had chemotherapy and radiation and surgery, and then recovery following that. So I was kind of busy for a while. I was kind of busy for a while. It was colon cancer, and that's the same disease that my father passed from. Yeah. So I had some genetic testing done, and it does turn out that I have what's called Lynch syndrome, and it's a genetic mutation that makes the carrier more susceptible to certain types of cancers. So I have to be vigilant in checking myself and getting tested for various things, and taking care of what I put into my body these days as far as eating is concerned. And that's continually a process. But I want to, I also do theater here in Chicago. So I wanted to write a one-man show about that experience.
Wow.
And so I want to put some music in it, obviously, and I want to write about it. And that has been germinating in the last few months, now that we've been on lockdown. The hospital that did my treatment, Illinois Masonic, Advocate Illinois Masonic here in Chicago in Lakeview, following my recovery, they have been really, really proactive in inviting me back to interact with the patients, and they had me back to play ukulele for some of the patients there that wanted somebody to play for them. So we walked around and I played songs for them, and that was super freaking cool. It was actually on the news for a while. I'll give you guys a link. And they had me back to MC their National Cancer Survivors Day event. And that's one of the things that I love doing. I'm just in my element when I'm emceeing something, and I love doing it. And I'm so thrilled that they asked me to do that for them. To have an actual cancer survivor MC the event is a special thing. So they were also willing to let me workshop the one-man show in the hospital for actual cancer patients. And that kind of feedback would be invaluable if I do go forward with this. So that is what I'm thinking about right now. Not quite working on, but thinking about. And I'm writing. I'm writing again. So I'm going to put out another album.
Awesome.
I don't know when it'll be out, but I'll keep you guys informed, and hopefully you can inform the UU
please
crowd.
Let us know.
Yeah, but other than that, I do the B Cup every year, and I do UWC every year, and that scratches my musical itch somewhat. And I gig around. I gig around here in Chicago. I got a lot of musician friends here in Chicago, and whenever I need a band, I got a band. But lately, I don't want to be playing the old songs anymore. I want to play. I want to write new songs, and I want to play those new songs. So that's what I'm going to be working on now. Speaking of the old originals and OG-ness, my song "Thank You for Leaving Me" was the first.
Leaving me. Yeah,
the first original ukulele song featured on the front page of YouTube back in 2007.
Yeah, you do like a remix of that with like a rapper like coming in and stuff. I remember that song.
Yeah, that was Twank Star, Mr. Twank Star, out in H-Town, Houston, Texas. He actually flew me out there to do the studio version, and that was such a great experience. We got to see the studio where Screwed Up Records, which is the most famous sort of old school hip hop studio in Houston. We visited there, and we actually did Rapper's Delight. Me and his sister did Rapper's Delight right in front of it, and I made a little video of it. But that was super cool. The remix just blew my mind. He emailed me on YouTube, and I was like, "Hey, I made this. What do you think?" I listened to it. I'm like, what? Amazing. So the song is in 6/8 time, but he put a slow 4/4 underneath it.
Oh, sick.
So it was like constant triplets. Yeah.
That is sick.
Nice. Yeah. So for people who don't know, I mean, it was kind of in the early days of YouTube. So you were kind of one of the first ukulele players to really get big numbers, right?
Yeah.
On YouTube.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this was before anything. This was before Jake's Bohemian Rhapsody. This was before, all of that. So it's right.
I think it was right around the same time. I think Jake probably beat me a little bit. But I by a little bit, but not by much, and I didn't know about him.
Because Jelly Weeks was on ukulele disco, but I think you were one of the first like OG
YouTube
stars.
Yeah.
It was that. It was the Bob Marley song. It wasn't "Shot the Sheriff." It was like "Waiting in Vain" or one of those songs and stuff that you did that also got big numbers.
Yeah, and I actually got some copyright strikes, so I had to move them over to a different channel. Julia Nunes was around the same time.
Yep.
Danielle Anderson was around the same time.
Yep.
A Chicago friend here, Mercedes, was around the same time. It was cool. There was no algorithm back in those days. There was an editor in charge of music, and she would decide what to feature on the front page. And I had her email, so I would email her videos from time to time by people that I thought were fantastic. Julia Nunes was one of them, and after I emailed her that Julia Nunes tune, she was featured on that front page, and she just stratospheric blow up.
She's like playing Bonnaroo and stuff. Like,
huge.
It's crazy.
So this wouldn't be a Thursday live lesson if we didn't answer at least one question. Hi, hit us up with a question, buddy.
On our live chat, Wes asked, how often do you use a capo and why?
For the ukulele, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Almost never. But like if I am going to be playing like some kind of open chords and stuff, or if I'm transposing on the fly with some in a key that I have a riff that that I usually do, I would maybe put a capo, but almost never.
For me, I don't ever use a capo. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, it's four strings. You don't necessarily need like a capo. You can kind of just bar your way around if there's going to be like some key changes and stuff, or you know, for transposing and whatnot. So very, very, very rarely that I would use one.
I think
bar your way
have a
around,
capo?
man.
Yeah. I don't even know if I have like an ukulele capo. I have a regular.
But I can
guitar
see
capo,
see having to use a capo if you got to play a riff in a different key.
Yeah.
Right
Yeah.
away. Yeah.
Other than that, like that's basically it. I wouldn't really use it for anything else, because chords wise and stuff, there's really no excuse for you to not be able to, you know, just move it up or bar your way around it.
Yeah. 4 strings, 4 fingers.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Anything else? Hi.
Cameron asked, what do you think about the combination of Koa and Spruce as woods for an ukulele?
I think we talked about this. So Cameron, we talked about this in his private lesson. So I'm guessing Spruce at the top and then Koa like back inside. So Spruce is a very bright, very loud material, and Koa is also on the brighter side. So you got two kind of bright sounding woods. So that's going to be a loud instrument. It's going to be a bright instrument. You know, if that's what you're going for, that's awesome. It's an awesome combination and stuff. Personally, I go for, you know, a bright top with a darker back and sides, like a Spruce mixed with like a rosewood. You know, rosewood's kind of more of on the darker side. Rosewood back and side. It's a classic combination. You know. I would go maybe like a redwood also like top. That's, you know, on the bright side as well. Let's see. Koa, if it's like all Koa, that's good too. A Koa top, you know, with a rosewood back and sides. But I usually try to pair up like a darker back and side to match up with the bright top. But it's not bad. Like that's a good combination if you're in it for like volume and projection and stuff. A Spruce top with Koa back and sides also looks good. I mean, the Koa with the you know, if you got some nice curly Koa on the back and sides, it's a nice like contrast between like just a straight grain on the Spruce, unless you get like a bear claw or something. But if you get a straight grain Spruce, it's a good contrast with the back and sides of a nice curly Koa. Yeah, what do you think, Seeso?
I don't really, you know, technical questions. I'm at a loss. I really, if I say anything, I'd be speaking out of my ass. So I'll keep my mouth shut on that one.
How about you, Kai, Aaron?
Yeah. Like a spruce top, pretty much. I love any instruments with a spruce top, and I think the same thing that you said, like kind of a combination of like a dark wood back and side with like a nice bright you know, top makes a really good instrument. But like we always like to tell people, if you can, try out instrument with that combination, because you never know what it like, if you're gonna like it or if it's gonna fit your playing until you try out something like it, you know, or like something with those woods. So it's hard to like tell somebody like, oh yeah, that's the best, go for it, get it, you know. It's like everybody has preferences.
Yeah, trust your own gut.
Yeah.
And you, even more so than the woods, is the builder that influences the sound. Because I had my two main ukes are all Koa, and one of them is distinctly brighter than the other. I have a Koa Aloha, and I have a oh geez, why can't I remember his name? Pete Howlett.
Oh, Pete Howlett. I thought you had a Dominator.
I gave it back.
Oh, I see.
I gave it back. It was a loaner. But that one was all
it's on lease. He leased it out.
But yeah, I mean, the builder, I think, if you like the sound of the builder's ukuleles, chances are you're gonna like the sound of his guitars, no matter what woods they're made out of.
I believe Cameron is getting a Miyamoe.
So okay.
Yeah, they're nice and bright already. So I think, you know, if you're gonna go that route, they can do it justice. So anything else, Kahai?
Yeah, there it's like a lesson specific question, so I don't know if
Okay.
we'll get this exactly right, but we'll try it. Brian said that he's
Okay.
watching the like beginner chord videos, and then and
Okay.
I think he's talking about essential chords course, like that's what he's watching, and I think he's asking
Right.
about like in those videos we talk about like using anchors and like placing your finger down first before you place on the rest. And he's kind of, I think he's asking like, do you always do that, or is there some point where you grow out of like certain ways to like put down chords and do those kinds of things?
I still do, but I mean, everyone's gonna play like their own kind of way. With anchoring, what that means is I use my pinky finger to anchor, and then I use that to
Well,
stabilize my hand.
I think
finger picking and stuff. Huh?
no, I think it's with the left hand, like actual chords. Like there's
Yeah,
like
playing chords. You know how you said
Oh yeah. That's right. That's right.
place one finger down first and then form
Mm-mm.
the chord
And then
around
form
it.
the chord around. Yeah. I mean, eventually, you can just kind of you can just form the chord. But there are some changes that I still do that where I kind of use one finger to lead into it and use that to anchor to another chord. Like for example, if I'm playing in D, like and I go to a G, for example, I'm not gonna lift up all three fingers and rebuild that chord again for the G. I can just kind of slide this ring finger to the third fret and build that G around there. Like so there are some chord changes and chord combinations that you will still use that same technique. So it's good to kind of learn it now. And it'll make changing a lot easier. Like I said, going from D and reforming it again to just kind of do a G or to an A or to even like a B minor, an E minor, or anything like that, and in that key, seems a little redundant if you can just kind of go from G, for example, and then keeping that same shape of the G on the middle and ring finger to go to the E minor. Here's an example of that. Instead of kind of going G and then restructuring the whole like E minor chord around again, you're just kind of using the same shape, using that, and I use that as my anchor, those two fingers, and then use the pointer finger there. Same thing if I'm gonna go like from G to A. So keeping that pointer finger, I don't even need to lift it up. That pointer finger stays anchored. Go down to the first fret, build my A chord around that, and then go back to the D. So going back to the D, yes, I do lift up everything and redo the chord, or I can just kind of take that same pointer finger and just slide it over using that one finger for the D. So there is sometimes where you still use the anchor even now, like even in some of the most advanced songs that I do. I think even more so then, because I need to kind of change a lot quicker. I tend to use the anchor a lot more, but you don't have to. I mean, everybody plays kind of differently, but I feel that it helps to have kind of a reference finger to move on to the next chord. But you do your own journey.
So
Yeah.
Brian came back and he actually said like he meant that the open like up strum, on the last beat of a chord that you lift off all your
Yeah.
fingers. Like, is that something that he should
Yeah.
continue to do?
Eventually you might not need to, but it is cleaner if you kind of leave yourself that upbeat and then change the chord and the downbeat, unless the song calls for a change in the upbeat. It's usually it keeps it clean, keeps the change clean, but you don't have to if you can change it fast enough. But I think as far as cleaning up goes, I still do it to this day.
Yeah, I think
So do I.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think the things that you're describing, like using an anchor finger to move to the next chord, or even lifting up all of your fingers on the last upstrum of a chord, they're not sort of stepping stones to another method that is better. It is just another ingredient of your style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. And I do both things to this day, and I always have. It's just another ingredient of your style.
Oh, thank you for that. Like that is gonna be that's the title of the podcast right there. Oh, yes, good.
You're
good
welcome.
answer. Yeah, good
You're welcome.
answer.
Answer.
Hit us with another one, Kai.
Well, that was all the ones from our live chat, but then we had a question a few weeks ago in our UU Plus forum. And so this guy, he said, my name is Alex, and I was wondering if someone knows why traditionally the ukulele is strung up with a high G instead of a low G. He says, like, oh, I've seen players use low G, and I prefer it, but I was wondering if there's historical context.
So I don't know this answer off the top of my head, but we have done an intensive chat about it with James Hill. It was on the same podcast like a few years ago, and he definitely explains like the the high G, the low G, and like the two different tunings, the Canadian tuning and the American tuning. That should have the answer to that. But if I'm just kind of shooting off the hip here, like I don't know about the historical, any historical reasons for it, but I don't even know if it started with a high G. Even like I don't, I think it might have been low. I don't even know that, so I don't want to speak or say anything. If it isn't, so. Because it was like kind of modeled after like briguinhas and cavaquinos and machetes and stuff, and those are usually kind of low to high. There is I believe a re-entrant instrument that it could be based off, so that's why it could go both ways. I'm not sure off the top of my head right now. I'd have to kind of like look it up. Do you know, Seeso?
Well, I don't, but if I were to hazard a guess, like you said, the ukulele has forefathers, right?
Yeah.
And some of those forefathers are double chorused instruments, right? So they have two strings per pitch, right? Yeah. So sometimes, and they're in different octaves. Some of them are in different octave away from each other. So I think the ukulele used to be a double chorused instrument, and they just sort of took off the low octave version of that G, and it became a re-entrant instrument. And playing it like that, you kind of can't tell whether one strum is a down strum or an up strum.
Yeah.
Right? It kind of masks that for the listener, gives it a unique sound. And the ukulele was born from that. That's my guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
and that's kind of the traditional tuning that we know of, as far back as we really can think in terms of Hawaii, right? It's usually that was kind of the traditional stringing of it, was the re-entrant, but I don't know. It could be either way.
That's a great question.
Yeah, like my favorite story of like modern Hawaiian music as we know it is that the Portuguese brought over guitars and cavaquinos and all these instruments, and then they gave it to local people, and they're like, oh, here, play this. And then when they went back to Portugal, they're like, okay, bye. And all the people here are like, how do we tune these though? And they're like, I guess it's like this, or this sounds pretty good, so yeah, we should do it like this, and that's how like that's like the
Slack
story of
born.
Slack Key. So I'm sure it wasn't that there. I'm sure there was like a lot more to it, but I always like that idea that it's just like we don't know how to tune it the way the guys who left it tuned it, so we'll just figure it out like what we figure sounds good.
Yeah, we can ask Mike Odo when he comes back on the podcast, because he probably would know.
Magic Mike Odo. Anything else, Kahai?
So Cameron asked, he's asking like really specifically thoughts on Benny Chong and on Benny Chong's like song My Romance.
I don't know the song My Romance, but I do know Uncle Benny. Benny Chong is one of the best, if not the best. Like jazz ukulele player. He was the guitar player for Don Ho. That man has traveled many, many, many musical miles. That guy knows exactly what he's doing. He knows his way around a fretboard. If you're listening to him, I mean, you love jazz, you're in the right place. So like, he's great. He's got chords that use like the thumb here to get the bass line that's down here, and he's like playing high notes and stuff. That guy is the man. I mean, Uncle Ben. And he's a very kind soul that's very, very giving and very sharing as well. Because I've traveled with the man, and every time I had a question or I wanted him to explain something to me, he was more than happy to just kind of like to share whatever knowledge that he had. Very, very cool dude. Older gentleman, so enjoy Uncle Ben as much as you can now, like because he's a living legend, really. Like he's traveled with the best, he's played with the best. Yeah, check out his music. Yeah, have you heard about Benny Chong?
No, but I got to check him out now.
Yeah, he's the he was the lead guitarist for Don Ho.
Awesome.
Yeah, but he picked up ukulele, and I mean, guy's got chops, man.
How are your jazz chops?
Not good. Like I can go, but like I can't hang with those guys. Like those guys are just like. But yeah, my jazz chops are all right. They've gotten better in the past like 4 or 5 years, but they're not where like I'm not at like an Abe Lagrimas level, like that kind of level. But I'm like a jack of all trades. Like,
is that like your next non-jazz musicians?
Yeah, I can fool non-jazz musicians.
What's the next musical peak that you want to climb?
I believe I can get better at jazz. That's one thing. I think kind of getting better at unique scales. Like I was cutting heads with Abe Lagrimas and his and my friend Kale Gamiao, and we're playing in a C minor, for example. And then all of a sudden there's like this like Arabic scale that Abe Lagrimas just comes out of nowhere, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, that's where we're heading. Like I got nothing. I got nothing. Like so, it's kind of tough, and I think just kind of putting something like that and knowing how to use it. So my chops are okay, like technical wise and stuff. I think I can play some tunes, but I think knowledge is where my next journey is going to be at. Like just kind of knowing how to apply some of the stuff that I kind of already know, but didn't really put them into applications. Like I kind of know those those
concepts,
but but I just I mean, I tell people you can read a book about how to swim, but until you get in the water and actually like feel how it is, like. You can't apply all the things that you learn. Right? You can't just.
Damn, bro, that's deep.
Yeah.
No, I mean the water. I mean the water's deep.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm only 5'3".
At some point, you can't touch.
Anything else, Kahai?
No. I think that's pretty much all the questions we got. So.
Cool beans, man. Well, thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thanks
for having me, you guys. It's been so fun.
Blow yourself up. Where can they find you? Where can they follow you?
Go to facebook.com/Seeso fans. You can find me on Bandcamp at bandcamp.com/Seeso1, and just search Seeso on Facebook, on YouTube, and you'll see all my channels. One is just youtube.com/Seeso, and the other one is youtube.com/Seeso covers. It's where I had to move all my covers after the copyrights.
Right on. Thanks again. Thank you. One of the
Thanks
OGs
for having me.
Underground. It's been too long. It took too long to get you in this podcast. So thank you so much.
I'll be back next week.
Yeah. We'll be here. You know the address. You know the room number. Just knock on the door. Right. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure, you guys. Thanks a lot. And all my best wishes. I hope you guys and your families are staying safe and staying hunkered down. And, we're all in this together. And my best wishes to you guys.
Yep. We'll do. Hey, everyone, thanks for listening in. If you guys want to listen to this as a podcast, you can download this as an MP3. If you guys want to watch this, head over to ukulelenderground.com. And also, while you're there, just sign up for U Plus to take your ukulele playing to the next level. Have a great one, everyone. Aloha.
Peace.
Peace.